Please state your name for the interview.
Ben Tripp.
Okay. Do you have any artist moniker that you use? And will you state that?
Yeah. I want to say Moderns.
Mm-hmm.
Moderns, because that's a name that I've used for a lot of shows. I need to use it more. Because using just your normal name is boring. Would you agree?
Why do you think it's boring?
It's pretentious, and it's like... It sends the wrong message. It kind of sends no message, or it's like... Yeah, you know.
Uh-huh.
Does that make sense?
Okay. Maybe it does. So, okay. So, first you said it's pretentious. So...
Yeah.
Well,
it sounds like it's like I'm not like a classical musician or something, right? So that's what. Yeah.
Where you're like, in which case, if you name your this is I'm interpreting what you're saying.
Yeah, please.
If you name your project your own name, you're saying basically like my ego is so great.
I only do it because I thought it might help get more people to come to the show, literally, because my friends will just be like, oh yeah, it's Ben playing.
Right.
That's literally, if I have some weird name like the Zombie Attack Squad or whatever, it's like, what the fuck is the Zombie Attack Squad? You need like 5 years to like build up following, and then it's like, hell yeah, like that.
Right. But if you had like Zombie Attack Squad, that name alone would probably
like put it in the middle of my name. I could be like Ben quotes Zombie Attack Squad Tripp. You're laughing, but I'm serious.
Right.
I mean, it could be like a blues name. Anyway.
So your artist moniker as Moderns.
I have to go with that. I've been doing that since 16, technically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anything you want to say about that name?
I like how vague it is, and it's like but it communicates like not old fashioned, modern. Yeah. So it's like get ready for the future.
So you would say you're a not old fashioned guy.
No, but I am.
Guy.
There's a tension.
So there's an irony in the name then.
Not irony, but there's dramatic tension because.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe guitar would be the older stuff, poetry would be the older stuff, but then I also have like a little bleep bloop, sometimes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is more modern, using modern equipment.
Right.
All right. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Littleton, New Hampshire, and I grew up in Vermont. And they're like yin yang. They're like right next to each other. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They're right next to each other. Are they also
puzzle piece? Like they like link. Yeah.
Right. But are they yin yang in the sense that they're opposites of each other?
Well, New Hampshire is. I learned this from my dad. New Hampshire is the underneath everything is like more granite in New Hampshire. Underneath everything in Vermont is more limestone, which helps agriculture. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Yeah, granite because New Hampshire is the granite state. And there's more industry in New Hampshire, actually. Yeah. Right. And because of the underneath everything, the soil or whatever, it's more granite. And in Vermont, it's more limestone. So
what are you,
Vermont's more farmy.
Can like build more industry shit?
You can't have a farm. You can't grow things on top of granite. Yeah, because your soil isn't as good.
So, do you think? So you were born on the granite, then you went to the limestone.
Yeah.
And then at what point did you come to New York City?
2006. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and where did you go to college?
I was at the New School, and then I went to Bard College.
New School is here in the city?
Yes.
Okay. So here, and you did undergrad.
That was all undergrad. I never did above grad.
You haven't done that.
I just got the old BA. Yeah.
Better than getting a BS, I guess.
A BS. I mean, right. I know. It's yeah. I wish I had spent more time studying like languages.
Right.
You studied philosophy, right?
I did. Yeah.
That's also useless. No, I mean it's as useless as creative writing. No, but like French, I did study some Spanish.
No, philosophy is like it's like the basis of the useless major.
Right.
It's like what all other useless majors like came from.
Well, no, I mean I still did some work and I don't know. It's hard to but at least I didn't flunk out. Hey, so
whatever. Yeah, we don't. It's like thank you for. In my opinion, this is not my interview. Thank you for the the pleasure to go to college,
Right,
whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. It
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of sucked for
And the
me, but
student
whatever.
debt. Yeah.
Yeah, and the student debt. So, okay, so actually, you came to New York for school, and then eventually you ended up here, living here.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel like how do you feel like where you grew up impacts your life here, and your kind of, I don't know, the way you fit in to New York City?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it makes a big difference or do you feel like you are significantly different from your peers because of where you grew up?
I don't want to. Yeah, well,
And do you think it's a unique place to?
Yes, to a degree. Yeah. I would never want to overemphasize it because I feel like it would seem I don't know, like overbearing. But yeah, it's like I know what it's like to just be in the middle of nowhere. I guess is the thing, or like, or even like very. Just very like hayseed podunk stuff or whatever. Like just the very, very not quite like when you live in New York City, it's like you're living in the center of the internet. Maybe does that make sense? Kind of. And I didn't grow up in the center of the internet, but yeah. In fact, like where I grew up, it was like the '80s weren't over until like 2004. But I think that's true. It's true.
I mean,
and the internet wasn't high speed until 2004. I don't know. Yeah.
In your town or
in the whole? Yeah. Well, I mean, I grew up in a remote, like hella.
I remember dial-up. We had dial-up.
Of course, sure, yeah. But I don't mean to brag, but it's like I'm not bragging. Yeah, it's just like it's like being in a really, very very small.
So you feel like you don't meet a lot of people here who have that background or understand.
I do.
That?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure people in New York come from all over the world, and they probably come from other like really remote places too. Like whatever. Maybe they grew up in a place that didn't have like electricity. I could never say that. That's ridiculous. Like, oh yeah, I grew up without electricity. Like, no, of course I grew up with electricity. There aren't that many people left like that in the world. Anyway, yeah.
Apparently, some of the guys I used to work with grew up without electricity in like Mexico and Brazil and shit.
It can happen.
They could have been talking shit, So,
I know. Yeah.
All right. Well. Okay. So, do you think? Yeah. Does that affect your life here?
Yeah. Well, it's like you can. I don't know. It's like I made the choice to be a part of this like culture, what I felt as like culture and opportunity and stuff in the city. But is there something? I don't know. Like, am I betraying my more hayseed roots? No, I don't know. I mean, there's advantages and disadvantages to both places.
Right. Yeah, you're so you have this question of like, is it more? Yeah. Is it better to be podunk than a big city slicker?
Well,
so you feel what I'm getting from that is
a conflict.
You feel there's a conflict there.
But I just try to embrace. Well, you can't embrace both exactly, but it's like it's like you develop. It's like everyone's allowed to grow. Yeah.
Right. And how often do you like speak with people such as your parents or anyone else from that town?
My parents once a week, and my friends, occasionally, we're still in touch.
So you're like, to me, you're very connected with your family.
I hope so. Yeah.
Which is
That's good. It's good. Yeah, it's I'm lucky, pretty mellow. Yeah.
And what's your sibling situation? How many siblings do you have?
3.
You have 3 siblings. 3 full siblings.
Technically half. Yeah.
All half, or
technically, yeah. It's like my parents got together and had me, and then prior to that, there was my 2 brothers and 2 sisters. My one brother passed away, so I have 1 brother and 2 sisters, all older. Yeah.
All older, and that was from a different marriage.
Yes, in both cases, yeah.
And so you are the only child from
full connection. Yeah.
Okay.
My parents, yeah. But we're all close as if we were.
What's the age spread on your siblings and yourself?
My older siblings are all Gen Xers, so whereas I would be a millennial, yeah. So cause they're in their, I guess they're in their early 50s now, basically, Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That would make them, the Gen X. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of almost on that cusp
Yeah.
of millennial Gen X.
Right. Well, really, I don't know. I think you have to be like 45 to be a Gen Xer, right? I don't know.
5 years, basically, right? For me, I'm about to turn 40.
My sister Lizzie is 50 or 51.
Mm-hmm.
My older sister, yeah. And my brother Sam, sister Susanna, they're about late 40s, early 50s.
If I'll go to a totally different question.
Yeah, let's talk about art or something. Or Fran Drescher.
Yeah. So imagine you're at your friend's birthday party. Okay, any friend?
Fran Drescher.
If Fran Drescher is your friend, then
I got some very important voicemails from Fran Drescher, so I think we might even be dating. Honestly, just keep asking your question.
That's a little different. So you're at it.
Okay, I know it's like
not Fran Drescher because you're at just like you're not dating this person's birthday party. It's just a friend you know.
Fair.
You're at their birthday party.
Yeah,
another friend's at that birthday party.
Okay,
and they and they have a new romantic partner who you haven't met.
Okay.
You with me?
Yeah.
That romantic partner asks you what you do. How do you respond?
Yeah, I would say I am a writer and performer. Covers so many bases.
Mm-hmm.
It's like vague, but it's not that vague. And it's got an and in it, but it's not like I make origami and sing opera or something. But it's almost as weird as that.
And now, oh my God, that's great. That's what they say.
Maybe.
And then how do you explain you're a writer-performer? Okay.
I say that, performer covers being an actor and a musician. It's like, you just take care of that. Because it's like, if you start saying, like, I'm a ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, it's like, oh, this guy's, like, if you say, yeah, I'm a writer, musician, actor, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know, maybe it sounds okay, but it's a little bit like, and. Writer and performer, it's already a lot. But I feel like it covers a lot of ground.
Uh-huh.
What do you think? You think?
No, I don't think anything. I'm just asking you how you would say, and that leads into the next question, which is basically, so you're a writer and a performer. When did you start writing?
Seriously, like writing with intention, probably, I don't know, 18, 18. Yeah.
And so what's the difference between writing with intention and not writing with intention?
Like, I really liked poetry, still do, yeah, so it's like, I'm doing this form. I understand what this is, and I want to do that, even if I'm pretty rotten at least for a while in the beginning, yeah. But, yeah.
18.
Sure.
So before that, you were saying the writing you did was purely...
could be just a note to my mom or something, right? Because everyone's a writer.
Yeah, everyone, you did the activity of writing, but there was nothing...
I'm being a little bit finicky there, but yeah, that's what I mean.
No, I just wanted to... And that's actually what I want to know. Like, before that, were you ever writing with this kind of like...
Probably in a little bit, yeah. Like, as a little kid, I would maybe write out... Like, when you're a little kid, you think it's so long, but you're actually just writing out a paragraph, like on a piece of construction paper, right?
Right.
But you feel like you're writing, like, this whole novel, but you're just writing, like, a paragraph that's, like, somewhat incomprehensible, like, about pirates. Like, you're just a little kid, you're obsessed with pirates, and you write this, like, paragraph about pirates, and it's, like, very adorable and grammatically incorrect.
Right.
But in your mind, like, you've written, like, a blockbuster film about pirates.
Well,
and it was really intentional. It, like, you weren't even realizing, like, you weren't
absolutely
right.
So is this you?
That was intentional when I was a little kid. Yeah, when I was a little kid.
You wrote the pirate paragraph.
Like, right.
Okay.
Like, I would maybe be writing intentionally as a very little kid.
Okay.
But it would, I think realistically...
But then there was a gap between there and 18 where you were
hopefully.
I don't know, I'm asking.
I know.
Like, for me, I was like, I wrote a story when I was in elementary school that I think actually, like, my parents helped me type up. Mm-hmm. And I had a period of my early elementary school where I was like, I'm going to be a writer.
Cool.
And I was like, that was it. I was like, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Now, is that similar for you, or after that time where you're like...
In elementary school, I didn't want... Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking about. I was probably just thinking about Legos or some dumb shit.
Right. So was I.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Legos were...
Or, computer games or something. I don't know, yeah.
Right. All right, so writing 18, you say. Now, how about performing either, in any sense, music or... What else did you say? The performing covered, like acting.
It covers acting.
Yeah.
It covers poetry, like because poetry is a performance. It can be writing.
Yeah. But or like stand up too. Do you separate acting and stand up?
For sure, yeah. Because I'm not good enough at stand up. It's like the difference between an excellent comedian and whatever else. Yeah. I don't pretend to be like really skilled at stand up, but I think it's a good exercise. As I told you before, yeah. It's just like it makes sense as an exercise, yeah, so I fuck with it, but...
How old do you think stand-up is as a phenomenon?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, it's maybe not as old as poetry, but, I mean, probably there were just certain kinds of poetry that really were, like, what we would call stand-up, but they were never defined as... Probably it was a genre within a genre for a very long time, so it's not as old as Homer. I don't know, it's like... Maybe a certain perspective during that time long ago would look at Socrates or Homer and say they were doing stand. No, not Homer. I don't know.
Right.
I mean, it's so old. It's like, yeah.
Well, because all of the people who recited Homer, basically, the idea is that they were reciting something they had memorized.
I feel like maybe stand-up, it's like metal coming out of rock or something. Mm-hmm. Like stand-up came out of poetry and storytelling the way metal maybe came out of rock. That's preposterous.
Right.
It could be kind of...
Because at least the conceit of stand-up is that, and we know that all of those jokes are written before, but the conceit is that maybe not even the conceit, but like the feeling is that the jokes are just coming out, like, and it's fresh and new. To me, that's like one of the things in stand-up where when you're watching a set, it just feels like the person is just making up those jokes.
Hopefully, yeah.
And then, for me at least, I learned that all these jokes they had like it's actually kind of staged. They like
yeah. A mix of both, yeah. And with poets, I mean, some poets could have memorized their stuff.
Right.
They could be like when I read a poem in front of an audience, and I have like even let's say I have a printed book that I made like. Maybe I just don't feel like reading that line tonight. Like I'll just be reading and be like, I'm just going to skip that line. Like you'll never know. Yeah. It's like I'm editing as I go along. Maybe that's
I'm just checking the camera. All right, 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to stop and start. Actually, you know what I should do? We should switch the battery. Right, so then we got into poetry and stand up.
Yeah.
And you were kind of breaking that down. And we're talking about art right here, right now. So.
Yeah, like I have to come clean and say, like I have a certain love for stand up, but I've just started dabbling in it recently, and I don't have the same passion or respect for it, But I think it's a great tool. Maybe even especially today in this crazy time we're living in.
Right.
Maybe more people should.
Humble
themselves. I guess this is a stretch, but I feel like it humbles me. In a way, to try something like that, even if I'm not good at it, yeah.
Because you feel like it's a lower art form.
Well, arguably, yeah. Compared to poetry, I have a lot more respect. There's more dignity. Poetry is very dignified, right? Compared to stand-up. Stand-up is all about the opposite of dignity.
Taking your pants off.
In a radical way, to make the audience think, or something, hopefully.
Well, maybe. I think that the goal of stand-up is to make people laugh.
Right.
And
joy.
So people do whatever it takes to make people laugh. Which is sometimes making them think, and sometimes...
Right, exactly.
Taking your pants off.
Yeah.
But what I was... so I think stand-up is a kind of a modern thing. But what you were just saying was really interesting to me because you were saying, like, you're relating it to poetry and storytelling and being like...
It has to be related to drama. I mean, it has to be related to drama. Like if some character in a Shakespeare play hops up into the middle of the stage and the spotlight just points on them and they go on this monologue, so that's sort of like... soliloquy, yes. That's sort of like stand-up. It's like this preposterous, like,
Right.
You know, like, so it has to be related to drama. So, like metal coming out of rock, it's like maybe stand-up comes out of drama and poetry, you know. Drama, you know, a lot of, plays written in verse or whatever, so, yeah.
It's an interesting theory.
Meh.
So, then to that question, when did you start performing and what kind of performance was that?
Music first, I guess, technically, yeah, but poetry is a performative kind of writing, so yeah, in high school I was doing both of those things. I was playing in a band with my friends, and I was playing in, like, the school band, like a marching band, or, like, maybe I would even just play, like, triangle percussion, like...
In concert band, yeah.
Yeah, in school, yeah.
Of course, I played, yeah.
And then my friends and I started a band, so those were two, so I was playing drums. Wasn't playing guitar at all. Wasn't singing. Yeah, wasn't.
You were playing drums with your friends.
And in the school band, yeah.
And so with your friends, what? How old were you when that started?
Every year, sophomore year of high school. So I guess 16 or 17 to 16 to 18. So yeah, if you're in high school,
that was the time that band was going.
Yeah.
What was the name of that band?
We had a really hard time with it. I think we decided to be called Brick of Gold or something like that. We had a hard time with band names.
Is there a story behind that one?
No, the story was like us all being able to not commit on a band name. But we played like 4 or 5 shows. You know, it was.
And what was the instrumentation?
Oh yeah, the instrumentation's funny because it was like so me on drums, Wes Bascom on bass. Tom Dreisbach on vocals and lead guitar, Josh Brown on second lead guitar, and Andy Mallon on additional lead guitar.
So that was 3 guitar players,
yeah.
A bass player, drummer, 5 people.
Yes.
And how many singers?
1 singer.
Who is the primary songwriter?
Everyone except for me and the bass player Wes wrote songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And each person would write a song. Were they collaborative at all, or
more or less? Yeah. And we had 2 iterations. We had one distinct iteration where Tom did not play guitar; he was just the singer.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first iteration.
Vocalist.
Yeah, and then he picked up the guitar, and I do think that was like a mature. We matured at that point. His guitar, yeah. And I was just drumming the whole time.
Right. So, how you matured? How did you mature?
I feel like it became more natural and organic, maybe, or something. Yeah. I mean, or we just been playing together long. You know, it was like, the more we played together, the more kind of,
What were the songs generally about?
Well, one song that Tom wrote was about like surfers and just talking about like how great they are. It was like very abstract, but it was like, oh yeah, it's so like how can they even do what they do, and the other songs were sort of nonsensical. In fact, I would say most of them were nonsensical. Yeah.
Okay.
But playfully
so one song was about
one joke song was about Bill Clinton because he was still kind of in mind. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
One song was kind of making fun of figures, public figures such as him, and
subject matter was funny or nonsensical.
But it wasn't like a novelty band. It was like we had one song, Robot Thomas Jefferson, actually, sort of maybe like almost like a King Crimson-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Who
wrote that one?
That would be Tom. Yeah, Robot Thomas Jefferson, and then at Tom's wedding. One of my probably best stand-up bits was at Tom's wedding. I was like reading some of the song lyrics that he had forgotten. Mm-hmm. That got a lot of laughs because I was like, "Oh yeah," I was reading the story of our band.
Yeah,
it's a good wedding like trick. Yeah,
Yeah,
like embarrassing, not too embarrassing.
right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't lose any.
I didn't get kicked out of the wedding.
Yeah.
right.
Like that.
Yeah. But it's the kind of band like those recordings are never going to surface again, probably. But it's okay.
So that was the first band. How was the reception from that band?
It was okay. Yeah. It was definitely okay. Yeah, and I think we brought together some more like technically complex jazz influence. My friend Andy was a very technically gifted. I was kind of at the top of my drumming game, maybe in a way. I mean, I was definitely probably practicing drums an hour a day, you know, something like that. Had a drum set at my house, and yeah, my friend Andy was really technically good. He was like a vibes player, but he was also really good at guitar, you know, and he went on to be like a, you know, very pro musician. So yeah, we had some cool, yeah, it was a synthesis of some stuff, yeah, you know, yeah.
Yeah. And did you guys make recordings?
Hardly at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No intentionality to like do an album or anything, because like I don't think we could have conceived of like how to do anything with it once we even made it. But like we have like 5 or 6 recordings that maybe a couple of years ago, like Josh sent me, and it was like, oh man, this is pretty amusing to listen to them, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was there a notable change from your memory of it and hearing the recording?
I don't play the same way at all anymore, but yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's yeah. Gosh, that's a funny question. Yeah, I mean, I was very in it when we were doing it. Yeah, I thought it was like really, you know, I was very into it, and I still think it's okay. You know, it's not like
so the change was a degree of what was it? You felt less maybe passionate about.
I felt I think I don't know, like probably okay. So when I was drumming in that first band, it was sort of like maybe there was a apprehensiveness, or like I'm just like trying to get out all of my chops or something, you know, and like the songs aren't all quite there. Probably the hardest thing was just like the songs having a definitive shape. It wasn't like a formless like free jazz jam. We weren't at that yet, but it was like, yeah, I don't know. We didn't have a lot of material. I mean, we didn't have a lot of material, you know.
So
and my drumming was maybe too much, you know. It was unsubtle, I would say, you know. So like I listen to it and I think like, oh yeah, that was like a really like funny, unsubtle way that I was drumming like back then, you know.
Interesting. So how many? So that was band number 1, and do you know how many bands you played in approximately? Like, lots of them, or
maybe not more than. I don't think more than a dozen, maybe 10. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like, how do you qualify? Okay, so if you just play one show with a group of people and you maybe didn't even have one rehearsal, would you consider that a band? Yes?
Yes, I would consider that a band in... yeah, I would consider it a band if you wanted to consider it.
yeah. Well, then I still haven't played more than 15 bands. You know? We were talking about drumming, being a drummer, and the problem is real estate. Being a drummer, the problem is real estate. Do you have a drum set? Or if you have a drum set, where do you put your drum set? In New York City, real estate is a huge freaking problem. So I didn't play drums when I was like really on my writer thing. I probably didn't play drums after high school from 2006 to... I don't know. Yeah, for 5 years I was just like probably didn't play drums because I was like living in New York and yeah, didn't have a drum set anymore at all, and it was like a real estate thing. Yeah.
Was that a hard thing to be like?
No,
oh, moving.
It wasn't.
You're just like fuck the drums.
yeah, almost. Yeah. Yeah, it was a temporary breakup. Yeah.
Was that a thing that you thought about at all, or did it just happen?
Well, eventually I went to college and I played with my friends, and my friends were like, "Oh, dude, you fucking play drums. What the fuck? You've been holding out on us." And I was like, "I haven't been holding out on you. I like other stuff too, you know." And they were like, "What the fuck? I play drum, you know?" And I was like, "Well, sure, thank you, okay."
Yeah, now here's the thing: if you have the drum chops, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was recently that I got more or less monogamous. I was more or less monogamous-ish. But I was flaky, like a lot of drummers are flaky, and then like 2019, I started getting a little more into jazz, and I did more improv and like one-off bands, and I think a little of that was really good for me because like I was in this weird esoteric electronic K-hole or something of music, and which I love like drum machines too and stuff, but like it's very solitary, or like it's hard to find an ensemble. But jazz lends itself to just, little random ensembles can just quickly form in like improv, and you know, it's like once you get that level where you're comfortable enough to improv, so a little bit of that improv influence helped me a lot recently. Like, whatever, past 4 years, 5 years. Yeah. To be less monogamous. Not that either is better than the other. Total monogamy is not better than total, I just play in 20 bands and I'm improvising all the time, you know, like...
Right. So, okay, yeah, here's the question. You told me before that you do stand-up because it's like a challenge for you to get up on, you know, on stage and do that type of thing.
It's just a challenge to be good at it. I'm a ham. I'll get up on stage. I don't have stage fright. It's a challenge to just be good at it.
Right.
Yeah. But continue.
And so I'm feeling similarity between that and what you're saying now about recently opening yourself up and playing in more kind of like improv situations, more jazzy. Is that a similarity that you think I'm feeling, or is that a coincidence?
It's analogous. Yeah. I mean, I think, I mean, if you're an actor and you're able to bring a comedic influence, or if you're a musician and you could play in any kind of band, you could play in a metal band, but maybe you can bring a little bit of a jazz influence. That's just a tool, right? Hopefully, I guess. Yeah. I mean, music genres are funny, but jazz is a big one. It sounds kind of stupid to use it, but it's accurate. I mean, we know what it is. It's a thing. It's a kind of, you know, yeah.
So the next part is as you next question rather, as you started playing more jazz drums, did you feel like you were opened up then to a larger community of people that wanted to play together?
To an extent, yeah. But I wanted to keep the community I already had, but it was like, I think what it was so the jazz influence, it lent itself to playing in ensembles, whereas I think the predicament, like overall in our time, is this isolation thing and the technology. It's like everyone is in their own bubble all the time, you know what I mean? And musically, people cannot even agree on even one musical genre that they all like or something, or you know, like in college actually, for instance, like I did play in many bands, but people didn't even want to form bands because they're like, no, I don't want to do that or that. It's like people are just really finicky. So somehow the jazz thing, it enabled more like playing in ensembles because that's a predicament I feel like has been going on like my whole life. It's like, oh, people don't want to form bands because people can't agree. Everyone is polarized and in this little bubble kind of.
Right. So yeah, isolation, because people are isolated. So why do you? It seems they're enabled to be isolated because they can kind of do everything themselves.
Technology. They can record an album by themselves and record a drum track by themselves and double their own vocals. You know, no need for background singers. It's like you can do literally everything, or you can just go down a rabbit hole of like super specific genre. You know, you're appreciating some super genre, and you're like, oh no, I don't like that. I like this. Or like, I want to play in this kind of band or something. You know, like.
So there's something about the modern age which allows us to isolate.
Yes.
And that is somehow. Would you say that's a bad thing? That we're
can be. It can be. It's like the collective action in a broad way. It's like the difficulty of people just coming together to do something. It's like everyone is on their own track.
And what do you think the value of coming together, doing things together?
Well, like if you like bands, it's like what the Beatles were like. Before the Beatles, bands weren't even that popular, right? People would maybe listen to like a big band, or they would listen to I don't know. So it's like just the idea of bands that necessitates people coming together. Right. I think we're just not in the age of bands anymore. Maybe it's just a trend. It's like everything is like, oh, the brilliant solo artist or the brilliant producer or whatever, or the brilliant pop star. It's like no one gives a fuck about who the pop star's band or whatever. I don't know, you know, or like so
they're somehow replaceable or something like that.
Yeah, and it's definitely the same with a lot of film and TV. Like, oh yeah, the writer, producer, director, actor, everything. Like, oh yeah, it's about their own life. Like they made a movie about their own life, and they all the things. And like, you know, and reality TV, it's like, oh yeah, we don't even need writers or actors anymore because we, you know, it's like it's weird. I think it's corporate. It's a corporate mindset.
Mm-hmm.
in a way.
So you're saying the corporate mindset
Well, no,
is
that's
focused on the individual rather
no,
than...
that's scratch that. No, that doesn't. Make, no, I mean like, well, technology has enabled people to just get into these isolated, bubbles, and it doesn't lend itself to like band formation because you have so much access to music and recording technology that it's like you can just form this bubble and be like, oh yeah, well, why should I play in a band where I have to contend with all this stuff where
you have to you have to like talk with other people and make.
Basically, it's antisocial. It's like technology.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that would be the bad effects.
Yes.
Of this
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, because and that's what I was asking. It's like, now you're expanding yourself. You're playing with all these other people.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
It was good for me. Yeah. I mean, but I think intentionality is good. Like I believe in the idea of like songs. It's like if you play in a improv group, you maybe have songs, but there's less structure, which is okay. But I think that for things to have, there should be a little more meaning sometimes, and like actual songs, actual lyrics. That's good.
And what's the favorite band that you've played in?
Okay, hard one, but I'll say like without name dropping, being able to play with like one of these older jazz heads was amazing. And,
hey, how's it going?
And the band with the two screaming women who also play guitar in college.
We're doing an interview.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I would say old jazz head and just a band with two screaming women who also play guitar.
That was his favorite band.
Wow.
Yeah.
The follow-up question is, what made that your favorite? Was it like especially fun or what?
The screaming band, I mean just it was like the gender dynamic was a little more it's been a lot of I guess we have a more balanced gender dynamic in our band, but
Well, so there was a gender dynamic, and so I'm asked to explain exactly why that made it your favorite band.
I play with too many guys. That could be a thing. Way too many guys.
So that's
you need variety.
Cool. And then and did you play many shows with them?
I think 2. So
How was the reception for that band?
The reception was good. It was like playing at a party where everyone was like already amped and like the audience was just very primed for that.
For screaming.
For So
when was that?
I think it was 2009 or 2010. Yeah.
And where were you at that time?
That was upstate New York.
At Bard?
Yeah. Germantown.
Germantown.
Show. Yeah.
And those were people you knew through Bard?
Yeah, they all went to Bard. Yeah. And at that point, I had played drums in a bunch of different bands, and I played guitar and sang in one band. That was like my band, and that was good too. But like this was more like I definitely had drum chops, and everyone knew, and they were like, oh yeah, like give us the foundation, and like I think their ideas were it was like the one person maybe didn't even play in a band again, but it was like, oh, this is a fun band because like they're really trying out ideas, they're really and it was like
So you would say maybe the experimentation of that band made it your favorite?
Yes.
Because they were doing the most unique thing.
But there was like the raw party energy too, because like it was like, oh yeah, people want to see these people play. It's like and it was a combination.
So it was a combination of uniqueness. Would you also say that it was the interest, people being interested in it? Forced uniqueness.
It was serendipitous. It was like serendipitous socially. It had a natural momentum, but it was like really trying things out. It wasn't just like a typical band,
And it sounds like there was a cathartic element.
There was a cathartic, loud element, and that was great. Yeah. And that was one of my
What was the name of that band?
More Tartar.
Oh, like tartar sauce.
Yeah. There's a chance that I think More Tartar went through other iterations. After me.
All right, this will be the last question, just because I've got to go
Yeah,
to
of course.
practice. But do you think there is a point to making art?
There has to be. But that point might be disappointing, if you'll forgive the pun. But yeah, there has to be. I mean, it's like, if you feel you have to do it, I mean, you're not doing right to yourself. I would hope that that's the reason that most people make art. It's like you have to at least try to see what happens, right? So the point is, I think, just it's something a little more fundamental than people. Like, people have delusions of grandeur. I'll admit I have delusions of grandeur sometimes. Maybe you do too, right?
No comment.
No comment. Yeah, we're not interviewing you.
Yeah.
But yeah, there has to be a point. There is a point. Maybe I'm at the risk of sounding naively optimistic. Yeah, there's a point. It's communication. It's a document. You could say on the one hand, like, we don't know what life was like 100 years ago, but we can look at art, and hopefully the art can shine some light on what life was like. Or if something horrible happens, art can help us understand how to not let that happen again, right? So art has many points, yeah. And I think, but it lends itself to maybe a certain, like, delusions of grandeur. So it's like, it can be a disappointing point, but we have to, you gotta humble yourself. I have to humble myself. I've had to, like,
Right.
maybe I thought I would be like, drummer, whatever, America's Next Top Drummer. No, I never thought that, but some people think that. And that's what they think the point is. They think the point is to be, like
America's Next Top Drummer.
like well, I don't even know what. Who knows? Yeah, but
So,
like that.
do you feel that some people treat music like a competition?
Yeah, but some people treat everything like competition. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, although there is a point to art, it might not be a competition.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be, but I mean, it inevitably is. Yeah.
Music is a competition.
No. Well, I don't know. It just can be.
Or it becomes a competition.
Right. Sort of inevitably. Yeah. Just there's limited.
Is that a good or a bad thing for music and art?
Depends on your perspective. Yeah.
What's your perspective?
It is. It does inevitably, like, help the creativity to a certain extent. Yeah. But you're talking about being. I think it inevitably is a competition because there's only so much time, and it's like, you can go to this show or that show.
And so that the person whose show you go to wins in a way, the other person loses.
No, they're both winners. It's like they're different experiences, right? You know. Yeah.
For sure.
But I think, if you're making music, you're putting yourself out there, and you should enjoy doing it just already. And if there's an audience, that's great. If not, it's like, hopefully you at least enjoy doing it. Yeah. And it's better than whatever other people do. Other people just play golf or something, or spend a lot of money at bars or something, or do worse things than that. Do much worse things than that.
So you're saying having fun is an integral part of making art?
Yeah. I think, you gotta say that. Yeah.
And so, then are they necessarily related?
What?
Do you always have? Do you always have to have fun when you're making art?
Boy, that's difficult. Okay, sure. To a certain extent, yes. Even if you're just like, you have some crazy commission to install art in some place, and you're getting paid all this money, and like, it's really stressful because you have to work according to these deadlines. I mean, there's still some fun in your art, or else probably no one would want to check it out, right? People are attracted to your art because there's some kernel of fun, even if it's a tragic play about people, whatever, stubbing their toes or something, or cats dying or something horrible. It's still, it's not fun to see a dead cat or whatever, but your play about the dead cat, it's like, wait. Yeah, it's like, okay, seeing that sucks, but you're having fun translating that into a format, and you're having fun, like helping people, like maybe come to terms with if they have to deal with that shit. Yeah. So even if you have to like write that play about the dead cat, like for some crazy deadline, and you have to stay up all night and lose sleep, that's not fun. Losing sleep isn't fun. But I mean, the whole reason you got the gig, to like write this play is because like there was some feeling of fun in your artwork that the audience. That's what the audience needs.
They need fun.
Yeah.
What about truth?
Yeah, truth is part of it.
Truth isn't fun.
Yeah, right. The truth can be harsh and disturbing. Yeah, and your artwork can be harsh and disturbing, but the color of it or something is sort of vibrant and gives a feeling of like fun. Yeah, or a movie about, right?
I don't know. I'm just asking the question.
Fun plus truth plus pathos, comedy, a little bit. Yeah, this sort of thing. That's the.
Well, I guess we'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Sure. But we should pick up.
I'm sure we got enough with that.
Yeah, well, that's fine. But yeah, if